Part 48. I have an appointment, so please give me a day off. The two fought for most of the day and even missed lunch. Xuan Huaifeng slept in Bai Xuelan's arms, and when he woke up, he felt as if his stomach was curled up in the air. It was uncomfortably empty. Although his waist and legs were sore and weak, he still managed to get up from Bai Xuelan's body and put on clothes. At the same time, he called Bai Xuelan up again and put on his clothes. Bai Xuelan lay down on the sofa, opened his eyes, smiled and saw Xuan Huaifeng buttoning buttons on his back, with a slender and handsome back, and said, "You know how hungry you are. We should also let you know what it's like to be hungry. Don't let me hang out and starve for a few days." Xuan Huaifeng was wearing a clean top, and was looking at the soiled suit, when he heard the words. He turned around and put the suit on Bai Xuelan's head. As soon as it fell, he said dissatisfiedly, "When have you been hungry for a few days? What did you eat in the car yesterday afternoon?" Seeing Bai Xuelan smiling happily at himself, he suddenly realized that he had slipped. With that said, "Isn't it willing to be the food of this white-eyed wolf? It really makes no sense." It was a little embarrassing, but also a little funny. The corners of my mouth couldn't help but a smile escaped. So I couldn't put on a black face anymore, so I shook my head helplessly, and said, "I must have done a big mistake in my last life to meet you. Such a celestial star." Bai Xuelan sat up from the sofa, clapped his hands and said, "You finally laughed. That's right, we finally had a good time. Why should we be so polite and angry?" In fact, Xuan Huaifeng went up and down. Everywhere was sore and pain, remembering that he was so unreasonable just now, bullying people casually by taking advantage of his physical strength. And he felt that he was very angry. It's just that Bai Xuelan's eloquence is top-notch. If you argue with him, you can only be molested by him again. Besides, what has been done has already been done. So what is the use of regenerating blood at this time? I don't even have that extra stamina. Xuan Huaifeng didn't bother to mess with him, so he just asked, "I'm really hungry, are you hungry? If you're not hungry, I'll ask the servant to bring food to my room." Bai Xuelan said, "You eat, how can you leave me?" He got up and told the servant to prepare meals through the window, and changed into a set of clean clothes. After a while, the food was delivered to Bai Xuelan's room. Speaking of which, Bai Xuelan really has some animal instincts, and his impulses are dominated by his appetite. I had eaten a full meal just now, but now I am much more honest. Seeing that Xuan Huaifeng was walking awkwardly, he quickly put two thick cushions on the chair. The two sat down facing each other and finally ate a meal in peace. After eating, Bai Xuelan asked, "You are still tired? Since you have eaten, you will sleep on my bed again." Xuan Huaifeng asked, "Why do you want to sleep in your bed?" Bai Xuelan smiled and said, "Don't you think you slept very well in my arms?" Xuan Huaifeng knew that he was just trying to make himself blush on purpose, so he was happy, so he gave him a warning look. Just as he was about to say something, the housekeeper suddenly came in from outside and reported, "Adjutant Xuan, I have your phone number, call." Before Xuan Huaifeng could say anything, Bai Xuelan asked first, "Who called? What is the matter with Adjutant Xuan?" The housekeeper replied, "It's a man, said to be the third brother of the Adjutant Xuan." When Xuan Huaifeng heard this, he estimated that 80% of the matter was about Xuan Huaifeng, but he didn't expect Xuan Huaifeng to be cold and indifferent when facing him. Yes, it's neat to go back and do things. The matter of Xuan Huaifeng had something to do with Lahua, so he was afraid that Bai Xuelan would continue to ask more details. "I'm waiting for his call. And I want to make an appointment with him to see my sister. I'll pick it up right away." As soon as he stood up, Bai Xuelan also stood up. Xuan Huaifeng was worried that he would follow him. looked back at him, and said coldly, "Don't tell me I'm talking to my brother on the phone, and you have to be there to monitor me?" Bai Xuelan thought back, he really managed too strict. If he can't even have free contact with his brothers and sisters, Xuan Huaifeng will definitely not be able to stand it. Bai Xuelan smiled and said, "I'm just full. I'm going out for a walk. Who is going to monitor you?" After speaking, he turned around and left the room. Xuan Huaifeng breathed a sigh of relief and answered the phone. After a while, he hung up the phone, walked out of the phone room, and when he didn't take a few steps, Bai Xuelan, who happened to be walking, came over from the small road in front of the right. Xuan Huaifeng raised his hand to him, walked over by himself, and asked, "I want to take an afternoon off tomorrow, is that okay?" Bai Xuelan asked, "You invited your third brother to see your sister?" It was a perfunctory remark just now, but Bai Xuelan remembered it clearly. Xuan Huaifeng didn't want to lie to him, and told the truth for more than half of it. "This is not settled. I made an appointment on the phone to meet tomorrow. I will be the host. And I will invite the third brother to have a meal at the Jiangnan restaurant on Xinan Road. Let's see the time. If the restaurant is finished and there is still time, I will go to the Nian's house with him. Can you allow me a vacation?" Bai Xuelan nodding, "Yes, I'll simply give you a day off tomorrow, so that you can get together with your family. However, you must remember to bring guards when you go out." Xuan Huaifeng refused to accept his favor, shook his head and said, "Why should you let me go for a day only for one afternoon? I am paid by the General Administration of Customs. Today, I have wasted a day for this symphony, and tomorrow I will also finish the official documents owed today. Well, I'll go to the General Administration of Customs with you tomorrow morning, do a few things, and I'll go to Xinan Road at noon." He was willing to spend most of the day by Bai Xuelan's side. And Bai Xuelan was of course willing, and said with a smile, "It's better this way." That's it. The next day, the two got up at the same hour. Because they were going to the General Administration of Customs for office, so they still wore the customs uniform. When Bai Xuelan was ready, he put on his long army boots and came to Xuan Huaifeng. Seeing that he was holding something, he was looking back and forth. He asked curiously, "What are you doing?" "He's fiddling with the holster that goes with this uniform." Bai Xuelan smiled and said, "Why do you suddenly think of this?" Xuan Huaifeng said, "I saw it when I was looking through the closet. My father used to have one, but the buckle is not as good as this. Every time I draw a gun, I have to untie it first. It takes time to buckle it for a while. This buckle is very convenient, so it can be opened as soon as it is made." Bai Xuelan said, "Of course, it is convenient to draw a gun after it is made. Why? You want to go with a gun to office?" Xuan Huaifeng said, "No, I just think it's interesting, take a look." Bai Xuelan suddenly thought that he was going out to meet people today, so he must guard against others. Xuan Huaifeng knew how to shoot, but it would be better to ask Xuan Huaifeng to take the gun, so that he could protect himself in danger. He persuaded Xuan Huaifeng, "Didn't I give you a Browning pistol? You take it out and wear it on your waist. You are energetic and majestic." Xuan Huaifeng smiled and said, "According to your opinion, a gun is just for the apparent spirit and prestige?" But he really liked the Browning pistol, so he quickly found it. He was dressed in a straight and majestic military uniform, and a silver pistol was attached to his waist, which immediately showed a bit of sharpness. Bai Xuelan looked up and down, very satisfied, and asked, "Can you draw a gun?" Xuan Huaifeng said, "What's wrong with that? I've seen my father's subordinates draw it many times, and there are tricks." He put his hand on his waist, picked up the buckle with his thumb, held the handle of the gun and turned it back slightly, and it was easy to pull it out. It was done in one go, and even Bai Xuelan was a little surprised and said, "Is this the first time you've played this?" Xuan Huaifeng was so surprised at him, and felt very happy in his heart. The corners of his lips could not help but lift slightly. He turned to look at the small alarm clock on the table. His face changed, and he said, "It's already this time, it's our loss. I'm still chatting here. Let's go quickly, or you will be a bad example of being late." The two walked out of the room side by side to the door, got into the car and headed for the General Administration of Customs. On this day, in fact, the first person to get up was Xuan Huaifeng. The genius was bright, and he was already full of energy. When he came together, he pushed a few times towards Xuan Huaifeng on the bed. Xuan Huaifeng rolled over, rubbed his eyes and asked confusedly, "What's wrong?" Xuan Huaifeng said, "Didn't you have an appointment with him today? Why are you still sleeping like a pig?" Xuan Huaifeng said, "Mr. Xuan, we made an appointment for lunch, not breakfast." "What time is it?" Xuan Huaifeng said, "Always prepare." Xuan Huaifeng asked, "What?" Xuan Huaifeng was about to say, but suddenly he looked at Xuan Huaifeng, who was curled up in a ball on the bed, frowned. "Hey, what are you doing?" "I'm getting up." "Why are you pretending to be dead? Get up." He kicked the foot of the bed, making a loud noise. No matter how drowsy Xuan Huaifeng was, he couldn't fall asleep, so he got up with a blank face, sat on the edge of the bed, with two white slim's legs hanging in the air, spread his hands and said, "I'm already up, so what now?" Xuan Huaifeng asked, "What do you think I should wear today?" Xuan Huaifeng pursed his lips, almost sneering, but seeing Xuan Huaifeng's serious expression, he didn't dare to laugh. After only such a slight delay, another feeling was born in my heart, like sinking into a dark and astringent quagmire, and my chest was full of depression. However, the person woke up immediately. Xuan Huaifeng saw that he pursed his lips and said nothing. "You usually talk so much. Why do you become dumb when I ask you? Speak." Xuan Huaifeng sneered in his heart, but he didn't dare to show it all on his face. He just said embarrassingly, "You are usually such an opinionated person. Why don't you even have any idea about what clothes to wear today?" Xuan Huaifeng said, "It's not that I have no idea. I'm just asking for your opinion. You've been facing your brother for so long. You should know what he likes. Should a military uniform or a long gown be better? By the way, he is a foreigner who came back from studying abroad, so maybe he likes to wear a suit. Damn. I just didn't make a few good suits here." He suddenly got angry, kicked the foot of the bed again, and yelled at Xuan Huaifeng, "You don't say a word, pretend to be a little girl. Who do you want to show it to?" Xuan Huaifeng then gave a suggestion, "You should wear a long gown." Xuan Huaifeng asked, "Why?" Xuan Huaifeng said, "The way you wear a military uniform. He is your father's guard. You have seen him long ago, and you have not seen him have any deep impression on you. Wearing a suit, you have no foreign ink in your stomach. Wearing a dragon robe is not like a prince, but awkward. Let's wear a long gown, we are Chinese, it's old-fashioned, good-looking and comfortable, and..." Suddenly, his mouth closed, and the next half-sentence was lost. Xuan Huaifeng asked, "What's more?" Xuan Huaifeng said, "If I say it, I will only be scolded." "I won't say it." Xuan Huaifeng said, "Come on. I won't scold you." Xuan Huaifeng said slowly, "Besides, I like the way you wear a long gown." Xuan Huaifeng snorted, "Which one do you like? You would prefer if I don't wear it?" He stretched out his hand and twisted it. With a tender face, he turned to open the big closet, turned his back to Xuan Huaifeng and asked, "Hey, what color does your second brother like to wear? What material? Don't sit still, come and help me choose." Xuan Huaifeng sighed in anger, but had no choice but to face Xuan Huaifeng. the overlord army commander, and he asked, "Why did you choose this one?" Xuan Huaifeng saw that he paid so much attention to a meeting. He was not like the person who was usually powerful and dominating. He hated Xuan Huaifeng even more and became impatient. "Have you ever seen him wear a blue gown?" Zhan Luzhao thought back and agreed, saying leisurely, "It seems to be the case, he has worn blue several times. And in winter there is a white scarf around his neck. So beautiful." Lin Qijun also had an appointment at noon this day. After breakfast, he suddenly remembered that he had been indulging in the wind for the past 2 days. He didn't go to the show. He missed Bai Yunfei for a while and called Tianyan Garden. Ask when Bai Yunfei's show will start, and book the most expensive room. He answered him on the phone. Boss Pai has not played for the past 2 days. Lin Qijun asked, "Why is this?" The other end said, "Young Master Lin, you don't know? Boss Pai is ill and needs to rest for a few days." When Lin Qijun heard it, he couldn't help but be surprised. Seeing that it was still early, he went to the store to find some fresh foreign goods, bought another piece of silk and satin, and took a car to visit Bai Yunfei's house. At the door of the house, he bumped into Bai Yunfei's uncle Bai Zhongping carrying a birdcage and went out. Lin Qijun is a great god of wealth to the Bai family. Bai Zhongping greeted him with a smile on his face. "Oh, isn't this young Master Lin? I haven't seen you in the last few days," Yunfei is thinking righteously. Lin Qijun got out of the car. He got down and asked, "I heard that he is ill?" Bai Zhongping sighed. "He plays at night, and he got a little cold. He said that he was afraid a bad voice, so he refused to go to Tianyan Garden. He must take care of it. I want to talk about his lazy temper, but forget it, let him. Anyway, he is a red horn now, and many people are holding it. So you can do what you want." Lin Qijun disliked Uncle Pai very much in his heart. After hearing that he was complaining, he didn't ask any more questions, and went in with the gift in a perfunctory manner. Entering the door of the house, looking across the patio to see Bai Yunfei dressed in white, sitting in the room, looking sideways and looking very peaceful and happy. Knowing that he was not seriously ill, he felt a lot more relieved. "Yunfei, I see you're here." Lin Qijun walked over, put the gift on the table casually, looked behind Bai Yunfei and asked, "Why didn't you tell me when you were ill?" Bai Yunfei knew that he was here, stood up to let him down, asked him to sit down, and said, "It's not a serious illness. I don't have to make calls everywhere to spread the word. I just took advantage of this excuse and wanted to rest for a few days." Lin Qijun nodded. "Yes, you should too. Take a break. I'll take you out of the city to play in a few days, how about it?" he said while looking at it. Bai Yunfei was wearing homemade clothes, and the wind from the patio blew slightly, showing a trace of his waist, looming, much more comfortable than the stage. Although he was sick, his face was very happy. Lin Qijun asked, "You are in a good mood today. What good things are you holding?" Bai Yunfei said, "A gift from a friend." Lin Qijun asked, "Can you show it to me?" Bai Yunfei thought for a while, and handed it to Lin Qijun to take a look. But it was a strange-looking decoration, like stone but not stone, like iron but not iron. He turned it back and forth in his hand and said, "This is it a pen holder?" Bai Yunfei reminded. "Be careful, don't fall down and break it." Lin Qijun felt a little unhappy, and said, "It seems that your friend must be very important. No matter how much I give you, I don't see you being so careful. Is such an antique pen holder very valuable recently?" Bai Yunfei said, "You don't know the details. First, this friend really gave me a good heart. When I saw this thing at her house, she said she wanted to give it to me. I refused because I was embarrassed. Who knew she would wrap it up? so I am very grateful to have the servant send it to my house. Second, this thing is very precious to me. It is an old thing from my former home. I didn't expect to see it again after many setbacks. Are you saying you should be careful? Lin Qijun suddenly realized and said, sure enough, you should be very careful. I don't know who is this good friend. He is so good to you. And I also share his affection for him. Bai Yunfei said, she is also an acquaintance with you. Now, it's Vice Adjutant Xuan's sister, Mrs. Nian. Lin Qijun always felt that Mrs. Nian didn't like him very much. He used to call Huaifeng in Nian house, and I don't know how coldly he was treated by her. When he learned the answer, his voice did not sound like before. So enthusiastic, he just said, it was her. After saying this, he suddenly thought of Xuan Huaifeng. The intestines were pinched like someone inadvertently, and the pain was sore and sour. Bai Yunfei is still praising. It's her, this Lady Nian. She is really a lady, gentle and generous, especially good-hearted. What's more valuable is that she treats everyone equally without prejudice. Lin Qijun heard this compliment, the ardent care that originally visited the patient. Immediately went away for most of the time. After a long silence, he said coldly, so, you are very familiar with her? Bai Yunfei was stunned, not knowing why he was unhappy. The two have not been in contact for the past 2 days, and it is difficult to see each other. I did not expect that because of Xuan Dian, he was a little unhappy. The scene became cold. Lin Qijun was not in the mood to sit for a long time. After chatting absent-mindedly for a few words, he made an excuse to leave first. Before leaving, he asked Bai Yunfei, I'll open a room at the Huasha Hotel tonight, will you come? Bai Yunfei asked again, then he startled. In fact, going to the hotel with Lin Qijun is not something that has not been done before. But at this moment, when I hear it, it hurts my heart. So, he refused sharply. After being asked, Lin Qijun's face turned pale with embarrassment, and he said dryly, then you should recuperate. Lin Qijun turned around and left,